In a major surprise, the Axios website revealed that Israel officially submitted its demands to the US last week for ending the war in Lebanon. Israel reportedly told the US, "If you want to end the war even before the upcoming US elections in November, these are our demands. If you fulfill them, the war will stop. If not, the war won't end." The truth is, these demands are quite strange. Meanwhile, the US media is celebrating a lot and saying, "Look at Netanyahu, the man of peace." Not only that, but the Zionist media is also heavily praising him, claiming that Netanyahu has changed his stance and could even end the war in Lebanon, saying it's his right. This whole situation is very strange, especially in its timing and content. I've got a ton of news and really important details that will be super helpful to you. What's being said in the media is just a small piece of the story, but I need to tell you the whole story from the beginning. So, what's new today that might be different for you and something you're hearing for the first time regarding the end of Israel's war in the region? The truth is, we were all surprised when a site called Axios suddenly came out with the news, saying that last week Israel submitted its demands to end the war in Lebanon. Now this site, Axios, features a Zionist writer named Barak Ravid. Right now, Barak Ravid and Axios are being relied upon by all the media, whether Arab or foreign news agencies. Even CNN is leaning on Axios. Why? Because this guy has a lot of sources inside the White House and plenty of Israeli sources too. The news he brought about Israel submitting its demands to the US to end the Lebanon war is based on 4 American and Israeli sources. Just listen to how this story is unfolding. When the news broke that Israel had submitted its demands to end the war in Lebanon, people started assuming the war was basically over and nearing its end. Some were like, "What are you guys talking about? Does this mean Netanyahu is now a man of peace, a hero who doesn't want to continue the war? Despite his home being hit, he's supposedly pushing for peace in the region and doesn't want to carry on with this war?" An initial investigation by the Israeli military revealed that the drone which targeted Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home in Caesarea was a Seeker 107. Interestingly, some reports said that the Israeli Air Force didn't intercept it because they thought it was an Israeli drone. Even more surprising, that same drone was the one that previously hit a Golani Brigade training base in the Benjamin area, killing 4 Israeli soldiers and injuring dozens more. The second thing that really stood out to me is how the Israeli media, like Haaretz, is now suggesting that Netanyahu might be submitting these demands so he can deal with Iran freely. It's like he's offering the US something in exchange for their approval to launch a major strike on Iran. But when you dig deeper into the article, since social media often just throws headlines around, you see the real content. It explains what Israel's actual demands to the US are. One of them is that Israel wants to ensure an active military guarantee. What does that mean? It means Israel would oversee things between itself and Lebanon, manage the return of Lebanese civilians to their homes, as well as Zionist settlers to their homes in northern Israel, and monitor the border situation. If Israel suspects anything, it would have the right to carry out a military operation immediately. Basically, Israel wants full freedom to launch military actions in Lebanon whenever it chooses. That's the first condition. So what's the second condition? It's that Israeli aircraft can fly freely over southern Lebanon, meaning there's no longer any concept of Lebanese airspace. Israel would have total freedom, with its planes operating 24 hours in the skies over Lebanon. When you look at this, it's clear why the Israeli media is celebrating without a real reason. Why? Because Axios pointed out that these demands effectively make UN Resolution 1701 irrelevant. This means that the Lebanese army and UNIFIL forces would need to withdraw from southern Lebanon. Remember, it's the UNIFIL and the Lebanese army that help maintain peace between Lebanon and Israel. So, if Israel is taking charge of peace on its borders with Lebanon, that means both UNIFIL and the Lebanese army would be pushed out. And what does that signify? It means Israel is officially occupying southern Lebanon. Do you see how serious this is? This isn't just a request for peace, it's a demand for occupation. This means that if Israeli planes can operate 24/7 over Lebanon, then Lebanese airspace has essentially become Israeli airspace. Israeli aircraft would have free rein to fly over Lebanon, asserting their dominance and striking any location they choose. With its demands to the US, Israel is looking to occupy Lebanon with American backing. The truth is, these requests will be carried by Amos Hochstein. Who is Amos Hochstein? He's the White House envoy for energy and Middle Eastern affairs. He's the only one who goes to Lebanon to talk to Hezbollah and the Lebanese government. This guy will be heading to Lebanon on Monday and will meet with the Lebanese government in Beirut to present the Israeli conditions. Lebanon has rejected it. Keep in mind that Axios mentions Lebanon actually turned it down. All sources within Lebanon indicate they will refuse such a proposal. So, if Lebanon rejects this and Amos Hochstein departs, this could be the last time the US administration tries to broker peace in Lebanon before the upcoming American elections, or during the current administration. What does that imply? It means that throughout December, Israel will likely do whatever it wants, with a US president preparing to leave office and not focused on Lebanon while Israel operates freely there. Is this situation accurate? Yes, Israel is indeed proceeding under this assumption. In fact, Israel has already put forward demands and is acting as if Lebanon has declined them. I want to stress that Israel has begun targeting economic buildings and facilities linked to Hezbollah. This is a very serious development to watch. Yesterday, after a statement from the Minister of Defense, Israeli aircraft launched strikes on a bank called Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank. So, what is Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank? It was established by Hezbollah in 1982, and this bank provides loans to a lot of people in Lebanon. Importantly, it doesn't only serve Shia individuals or those affiliated with Hezbollah, it offers loans to everyone. The problem with Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank is that Israel claims it is involved in money laundering, alleging that Hezbollah uses it to manage its funds and generate profits, turning them into legitimate money that flows into the Lebanese economy. Not only that, but they also say that Al-Qard Al-Hassan Bank stores tons of gold. Each branch holds a significant amount of gold. So, when Israel targets these facilities, it signifies an escalation in the conflict. This indicates that Israel's goal isn't just a ground operation in southern Lebanon, rather Israel aims to dismantle Hezbollah and disrupt its economic foundations. This means the war is not going to end anytime soon. Israel is acting on the assumption that the incoming US president will face a situation where Israel is already dismantling Hezbollah's economic assets. This marks a new phase for Israel, where the focus has shifted from just targeting Hezbollah's military facilities or assassinating its leaders to actively dismantling its economic structures. This is significant because it suggests Israel has acquired critical information about Hezbollah's financing that wasn't available before. Keep in mind that previously, the US and Israel were heavily focused on dismantling Hezbollah's funding, especially during the recent conflict, Operation Al-Aqsa Flood. This year, Israel appears to have gained very important insights into how to weaken Hezbollah and strike at its economic assets, which is a crucial development. This is crucial because, on the other hand, it indicates that Israel has started to undermine Iran's most significant asset. What do I mean by most significant asset? I mean that Israel is targeting the most important militia in which Iran has invested heavily over the years, from 1982 until now. Iran has been continuously investing in Hezbollah, and Israel is now working to dismantle the organization. Just to clarify, I'm not saying that Hezbollah is finished or even close to being done. I'm pointing out Israel's perspective. It sees the most important militia that Iran has invested in starting to collapse. This means Iran itself is being exposed. It suggests that Iran's plan to hide behind its militias or the resistance axis is failing. Right now, the Houthis are facing significant problems, and Hezbollah is being hit hard. The issue for Iran is that its shield is beginning to fall apart. You can see this reflected in an article from an American publication, The Hill. It states that Iran's problem is that the resistance axis it established has weakened and is no longer as strong as before. All the threats that had been made, that this axis would retaliate against Israel and that it could besiege Israel, were all just talk. This axis missed the opportunity presented by Operation Al-Aqsa Flood to carry out the threats it was built upon. In fact, if the resistance axis had launched an attack against Israel during that time, the equation would have changed entirely. Instead, they hesitated, did nothing, and allowed Hamas to act alone. Now they are exposed, and Israel knows how to deal with each faction individually. This indicates that if Israel emerges victorious in this way, the region will be confronted with the most extreme government in Israel's history. This radical government would likely have some very troubling ideas, and we need to be prepared for that. Ultimately, I hope I've explained the situation to you in a straightforward manner. Thank you for watching. For more in-depth analysis and updates on this developing story, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell.